Hey, good morning everybody. We're down here in Eloy checking out this cool property listed for sale by our friend Larissa Powell. Let's get started on this bad boy. Lots of planes down here. Lots of people flying around. Beautiful country for that too. Beautiful views. Look at all that. It's nice down here. This house is pretty nice too. There's a couple things going on. This black tile roof. It's not the best quality. We've got a little bit of, I don't know if you call it manufacturer defects on that. A couple little cracked tiles. A cracked tile right there. And then on these mortar caps on the back side of the house, I'd like to see mortar filling up all these gaps right here. You might as well just fill it all in, prevent all the water from possibly penetrating that opening right there. We've also got another manufacturing defect right here on the side, so just a couple tiles out of a couple hundred that have some manufacturing defect, but you can see the edges of all these tiles is pretty worn. It almost looks like it's not supposed to be that way. I don't know. They don't look bad. Just don't see that very often on black tiles. I don't see black tiles very often. They feel a little brittle. They're installed good. Flashing, no issues there. This isn't the prettiest install, but instead of cutting off this entire piece, you usually just cut around it, but I understand. At least you got the top above the vent flashing, covered, and the bottom open. That's what we're looking for. And then we got properly wrapped metal into the pipe. So that's good, other than a couple nails hanging out up here. It looks pretty good. And we have a stucco soffit today, so there's no ventilation here. I didn't see any ventilation up on the roof either. No gable vents, so this should be a sealed attic space up there. We'll see when we get up there. We can walk around the outside of the building here. Electrical panel looked pretty good today, other than the frappuccino, that caramel. Ew, gross. Electrical panel, you got plenty of room. This isn't a real big house, so you got plenty of room. If you want to add a pool, hot tub, all that other stuff, you should have plenty of space in here to add it. GFIs, AFIs, all tested, all reset, no problem. It's all GFI inside your house. Bathroom receptacles are the exception because you have GFI push buttons in there to reset. Kitchen GFI is reset is here in the panel too. Looks like they lost one of the screws and replaced it with the neutral screw. The green screw needs to go inside the panel, not outside the panel. And it's been pre-treated for termites here. We always look for that on new homes to make sure that it's been pre-treated. Oh, and another big one, non-metallic plumbing means they use PEX in this house. So no bonding is going to be necessary. I am running the dryer right now. It's kind of a cool setup. It's kind of a weird front of the house. It's different than most houses you see it. I think the neighbor's house is kind of like this too, but this is your front. Your front doors are on the side. You park here, so this is basically a parking carport. There's a couple more houses down the way just like that. We're missing screens on the sliding glass doors and all the windows today. I noticed this was a little bit unusual. This must be like a universally mounted garage door because it's got weep holes at the top and at the bottom. So I'd like to see some more caulking in that joint, something to keep the bugs and debris out. We're gonna get a little bit of separation here at the stucco. That's gonna be normal for the first year. You just wanna let that stucco dry and then fill that in with some flexible caulking out here. But this isn't a major problem, it's just more of an eyesore. Why that little weep screed flap is missing on the right side, not the left side. Kind of annoying, but that's about it. Want to stick some caulking up in that hole right there. Just wanted to get that thing filled in, make sure wasps aren't nesting in there come next spring. Windows, fence. I actually like this gate quite a bit. It's all metal, it's black. Just really loud when you let it close. So everybody knows when you're in the backyard. Okay, plumbing, main plumbing cleanouts here on the side goes to a septic tank, I believe, in the backyard. These plumbing cleanouts should be raised a little bit. The grading back here is really flat, so you don't see any grading away from the house. This is Arizona. You still need grading. You still need to bring that dirt up to the side of the foundation and then drop it down. We're looking for a few inches, you know, in the first 6-10 feet. We want to see some drop before you put rock on here. This is what's going to keep the water away. If you just put rock on here and then put the grate on, the water will go right through the rock into your foundation, causing you some problems. So we pay attention underneath the windows, make sure that the stucco got put on pretty good. 2.5 ton AC unit. Got an irrigation system here as well, but we have nothing planted, so, and no manifold. We've got a timer, but no manifold installed yet. Now on this one, they obviously did some spray over. Missing our screen again. And then on the underside, I'm seeing some holes in the stucco. So again, with pests, we're not worried about water so much on that one, but pests getting into your home. Foundation wall looks good. This is where you can see everything is flat, super flat. So you don't want water to be pooling up here. You want it to drain away. So you want to build a little bit of grade up against the house on every side. Septic tank, I'm not going to be able to check today. Got to get that inspected by a licensed plumber that can do a full inspection on that. I'll give you a certification. I can't do that. Lights in the back. Pretty basic backyard, right? Like there's nothing on the back side of it. And then you have your main water valve here, where you can shut all the water off to the house. Nice one-way valve. Turn it back on. We've got good water pressure today. This is about 65 psi, 70 psi, according to my gauge anyway. More screens missing on the outside here. I'm looking again at these gaps. This one isn't so bad. Some of them get kind of nasty, but checking underneath it, got a little bit of metal showing there from the chicken wire. It's not bad, but I like to see it all covered. A little more gap there. I think this window over here is where I saw a couple openings. Yeah, there's a crack right there in between the stucco where things could get in. So we just need to get all this stuff sealed up. It's a new house. We should ensure that the exterior is sealed up properly for the new home buyers. More gaps down here. You can imagine water coming down here and going into that crack, right? So you want to fill that in with some caulking. Get that water out of here. Not a big fan of the painters. They oversprayed quite a bit. They didn't prep very good. But the weep holes are clear. And you've got your secondary drain pan that drips in front of the window here. And so if that drain pan up in the attic starts collecting water, you're going to see water dripping onto this window. So you need to call an HVAC tech if you start seeing it rain out your living room window here, or bedroom window. What I don't like about the primary condensate line is that it's so close to this fence, bollard here, whatever you want to call it, where it's connected to the house. This might cause some settling. So you got excessive moisture right here at the bottom of this fence. This is going to make the ground unstable, and then the weight of this column is going to slowly push down. This fence is going to pull away from the house, you know, farther and farther, and then your gate isn't going to close right because it's going to push that and squeeze it together. So in my opinion, you might want to run a PVC pipe out this way and then down over here, just to keep it away from that area right there. But gate was operating perfectly today. It's really nicely lined up the way it should be. And here's your front door where we check. Oh, that boxer back there is killing me. Check all these little areas where they looks like they missed paint, and they did, but this is a big gap under here. Just want to make sure all that stuff is sealed in. We have termites, scorpions, all those nasty things down here in Arizona that we are trying to keep out of our house. Now let's go on in the inside here. Got the water heater closet here right at the front of the property. A little bit unusual, but easy access to this guy. 40-gallon ream from 2024, so brand new. Got a pan under it, protected. I'd like to see a PVC pipe connected to this somehow drain outside, because this pan what's it gonna do? What are you actually protecting if you don't hook up a drain? Everything is gonna come right out of that. It's a good thought, but not good follow through. You can see the water heater locked off for a reason. Inspectors aren't allowed to break this and turn this on. I could just flip this over and flip this on, but for some reason they locked this thing out. It's not my job to open that back up. You know, increases a lot of liability that way. So here I'm just checking the weep holes on this window, just making sure that they open as water is going to push out on that weep hole. We don't want water to push in and open them up, just out. I think you might want to turn the water pressure down on this a little bit. That's going to make a mess. That's making a mess. That's just on turning it on high. That's all that is. So I might want to turn the water pressure down on that. Look at all that. You're going to have a freaking mess. It's all over the wall too. Electrical. And then on top of it, usually on these new houses, you want to check that overflow. They usually leave plastic bags or something in the overflows. It's enough to cause a clog or cause a problem with that overflow. Watch how fast the sink fills up. Oh, let's get those out of there. Somebody put some nuts down in the sink. Alright, here we go. Watch how this fills up. It's quick. So within about 20 seconds, with that drain closed, you're hitting the overflow. These sinks are really small and you have a lot of flow coming out of this sink. You might think about turning down the pressure on these sinks, just for safety reasons. You can see that the water is coming out faster than the overflow can even keep up. Yeah, that's not gonna work like that. That overflow is not keeping up with the sink. It's mounted pretty level though. Yeah, we're not going to keep running that, but I'm not seeing very much water go down that overflow either. It's slowly running down. You can kind of see the water flowing through there, but it's not as fast as it should be. We need to get that plastic out of there. All the sinks. So a couple things to point out in this bathroom here. Got a toilet that's leaking, the tank is leaking. Way back here you can see water just running down this fitting right there. I'm gonna see if I can tighten it for the time being, but I'm still gonna put it in the report because I can feel moisture running down this pipe right there. It's going all over the floor behind the toilet. It's gonna start causing some problems. You can see the yellow marks already on the trim. So that's going to be an issue. You got to get that fixed immediately. Come on, where are you going to put your toilet paper? Where are you going to put your TP for your bunghole? Got to put a toilet paper rack in here. Shower itself, not a bad design. Nice, like a 4-piece. You get the bathtub and then you get it back and 2 sides. So it's really nominal caulking joints to worry about. This isn't even a caulking joint. These pieces interlock inside of each other. And on top, they kind of do the same. You can see how they interlock. So we're not too concerned about that. We want to make sure we have caulking along the top edge of the shower here, that we're not going to get water going down behind the shower wall, caulking down the side. But one area of interest or concern that I always have on these types of showers is right here. You're going to get water traveling down. As it comes down the shower, it's going to run, hit this little gap here, and then it's going to flop out here. It's going to run down your sidewall, and then you're going to have drywall damage. So I would recommend putting some caulking in here, fill in that gap, make it nice and smooth, so any water that comes down is just gonna run down here or run down your tub and not be directed towards the drywall right there. But other than that, you know, it's a new house. You're gonna have a few of these problems that get overlooked. That's why inspectors come through and look at this stuff. Unfortunately, the same thing with this bathroom sink. Look at that. Too much flow right here in these small sinks, so you're gonna have major issues if you don't do something about these faucets. And yeah, this one's filled up too. So a little bit of fixing on that. So yeah, the attic is insulated on the roof. Got spray foam insulation on the roof. Lots of ductwork up here preventing me from going any farther past that. Really. Taking a look over there the best I can. I just don't want to damage any of this ductwork while I'm up here. I'm responsible for it, so I'll get by some of this stuff the best I can, but some of it, it's just impossible for me to get by. Like the chance of me breaking something off that, just trying to get by it, it's way too high. But here's your root system up in the attic. Heat pump, so this will be your air handler. Just checking all the connections, making sure we have solid connections up here. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the condensate lines making that noise. It's telling me there might be a problem with the fluid levels. Maybe we're cavitating or something. I don't know. I'm not a HVAC professional, but I know it shouldn't sound like that, so we're going to call somebody in to diagnose that. Now, one thing that I commonly call out, and it's not the end of the world, but say this is your primary condensate line, right? Coming out of your air handler, furnace, whatever you want to call it. You got a P-trap, which prevents blowback, so it prevents the air from pushing all this fluid out. So it's good that you have this P-trap in here. What I'm looking at is this condensate breather. They hardly ever get it over the top of the pan. Now they put it up so high because they don't expect it to back up and cause problems. But if it does back up and cause problems, what do you think that's for? That's to let liquid out if it does back up. Condensate overflow. So why wouldn't you want that over the top of the pan? If it overflows, it's just going to go right onto the attic floor and cause water damage. So safety reasons and for water protection, get that a little bit farther. I know it's a small thing, it's 3/4 inch PVC. You could do it for 75 cents probably at Home Depot. Why the HVAC guys don't get it over that far, I don't know. It's that easy. But then your secondary condensate line goes right here, and this is on a pan underneath your HVAC unit. Want to make sure that there isn't a lot of debris in there, because if water does start pooling up in this pan and coming down this pipe, we don't want all this debris to end up in this drain line and clog this sucker up, because then this pan will overflow and get onto the attic floor for sure. So these are some of the safety devices up in your attic for your HVAC system that we need to check during a home inspection to ensure that when you move in, you're not going to have a wet ceiling. This is one of those areas that can happen fairly easily. But looking over the rest of the attic, don't see much for problems. We've got a insulation tape on the back side there telling us that it's roughly 6 inches thick, the spray foam, according to that anyway. No insulation on the ceilings, so if you want to wire up a stereo system, should be pretty easy. But looking for any damaged ductwork up here. Looking for anything that might have a hole in it, might be leaking some air into the attic space. Not that it matters that much because this is a conditioned space, but we just want to make sure air gets distributed right throughout your house. This is another one of those areas. You could come up here and you could put some sealant around all of these openings, all these little tiny cracks in your light fixtures, smoke detectors, everything in the attic. See, we don't have insulation covering this, so we can see all this now. You could seal that up better. You could maybe seal that up better. Maybe seal that up better. Those electrical lines going in through the wall right there, that goes down into a wall. Yeah, you can seal those electrical lines to make sure it stays protected. But again, this is an insulated, conditioned attic space, so it isn't as big of a deal on this house as it would be sealing the roof. So entering the home from the east side, main entrance, Got a really cool ceiling fan up here. It's wobbly, so I might want to rebalance that. High-tech fancy remote, but it's wobbling either way, so you're gonna want to get that looked at, tightened up, make sure that doesn't cause any problems. Light fixture, checked all the outlets. I love these new houses when everything's available. I can check every single outlet, make sure we don't have any problems. We have a laundry room right on the, I guess this would be the front. It really is the front of the house, because this is your carport, right? And then you walk through this door if you want to go right into laundry. Everything's electric here, so electric dryer running great. Wash machine didn't have any problems, ran that for a full cycle. Checking the ventilation and the lights too. Want to make sure the lights and the vent fan, no problems with them. It's kind of redundant to put two light switches in here. You got one for the light here, one for the light here. It's literally, you can stand in the same spot and operate the same light, but code reasons, every door you need a light switch by it, so that's why they did that. Kitchen, ran the dishwasher for a full cycle. Didn't see any issues with that. It's a nice, clean, new dishwasher. Nice steel interior, metal interior. We're gonna drain that, make sure we don't have any issues with the drain, but when we do drain it, we know it's not going through a high loop. As you see that white drain going right over to the dishwasher, we should have a high loop, something that attaches that up underneath the sink. Got an AAV valve in the back, making sure it's 4 inches above this lateral. It's good there. Garbage disposal ran perfectly for a new garbage disposal. You're probably not going to have too many issues with it, but we do see some of that PEX back there, that non-metallic plumbing. That's what's coming into the house. Looking at the finish work too, because this is a new house. You know, if there's some big problems, I don't want my client to be like, hey, why didn't you say something about it? So I'm looking for cosmetic flaws, looking for caulking gaps, making sure we got drain covers, making sure that the water features work, all of them at the sink, and we don't have any issues with this retracting. Soap dispenser, I'm not going to test that. GFIs, you've got 2 different circuits on here. That GFI protects these 2 outlets. That GFI protects those 3 outlets. They're all operational, all good today. Lazy Susan in the corner. Pretty cool Lazy Susan, actually. You can store stuff on the side of it, not just on the rack. You can still store stuff around it. Really good storage option on that one. You got some corner storage up here. One thing I'm commenting about this house, and it's not the end of the world, but you see that screw back there? I've probably made a couple videos about these before. These are not cabinet screws. They're good screws, but they're not made for cabinets. Cabinet screws would have like a shoulder around it. Looks like it has a washer on the top of it, and that washer helps grab the cabinet and pull it against the wall. So you want to get something like that in there. It's not a expensive fix. You can just take one of these out, go to Home Depot, get the right length, and get actual cabinet screws, and just replace these one at a time. Take one out, put one in. Take one out, put one in. That's what I would do. Oven and microwave, both operational today. I do want to point out that this vent does not go outside. This vent just goes right back into the house. On a new house, it's unfortunate that they did it like that. I would prefer to see this go outside, especially when it's 115 and you're trying to cook supper. Who wants to sit in here and smell their own cooking all freaking night while they're trying to sleep? Get that shit outside. Oven, fully operational at the top. Check the inside oven part. And we do pull this back too and check it does have an anti-tip device down on the bottom left-hand side. Rest of the cabinets were good. Now the refrigerator, check this out. No issues on the refrigerator side. Feels good, temperature, not a problem. Now our ice maker is doing a little crazy action here. So we're dripping some water, dripping some ice. Look at the top of that ice maker. It's like it's thawed out. It's like the power was turned off for a while and some of it melted and then it got turned back on. So just want to double check that. There's your water filter down there. Have them come back through and check that ice maker and make sure it's operational. You can see the water is working down here. It's just dripping a little bit. Now one thing I want to point out on the doors on this house, and I don't know if it's going to be a problem for anybody, but you can see this is a closet door, right? You got a good amount of space in here, looking for any termite tubes or anything like that, checking the tile floor. But look at that door. That's a privacy door. It's not just a privacy door, but it's got a lock on it and a key. So that's interesting in a closet door. You think if they were going to do it, maybe they would do it the other way around. Bathroom doors should be like that. It's unusual to see a key exterior door handle on a bathroom, but not the end of the world. It's still operational as you would expect it. You want some privacy, you can at least lock it. Another keyed door handle with a lock. Another keyed door handle. And this one's on the inside. So, are you locking something in there? I mean, I can understand if you want to put some stuff in there and lock it and keep it tight, you'd put the key on the outside. Now that closet in the hallway, that's completely ass backwards. Same thing with the bedrooms, privacy locks with the key. It's fine to have a key. Maybe you want to keep these doors locked for one reason or another. It's not the end of the world, but this is your only normal handle on the main closet door that isn't a privacy handle. It's just a regular interior door handle. No locks or anything on it. So it's a bit unusual, right? To have all these instead of just regular door knobs. Even the primary door has got a regular doorknob without a keyed entry. So you'd think you'd actually have two keys there, but deadbolt's enough. There's our attic access hatch. That's where we went up in the attic and checked things out. So these are the air return vents or ducts. So this is where your filters go. Your main filter is going to go up in here. You've got another return duct in the primary bedroom, and then you have this small return duct here in the hallway. What I don't like about this setup is, see, you have carpets. Where am I going with this? Well, the doors are not cut to allow air flow through the bedrooms. So when you shut this at night, you're not going to have any airflow going underneath that door. You don't have any jumper ducts up here. You don't have any ductwork to equalize the pressure in this room to the hallway. So when the AC is running, you're just pumping cold air in here all night. And this room is going to be pressurized. You're actually going to build up pressure in this room. And it's going to get hard to open this door in the morning probably because of all the pressure you have in here. And then when you release it, you know, all the pressure is going to go back into the house. So what they tried to do, especially on the primary here, by putting this extra air return in here, is you equalize pressure so you're sucking some of the air out of here. You're pumping it in, but you're also sucking it out so you don't have those pressures. Now, if it were me, instead of putting this third vent right in the hallway here, I would have put two of these in the bedrooms. I would have put one right there. I would have put one right there. That way you wouldn't have to cut these doors down. You have good air return in both bedrooms, all three bedrooms then, and you won't have any problems. You can keep doors like this if you want. It shouldn't cause any issues. But if you don't swap those air returns around, I would recommend you cut off the bottom ½ inch or so of that door to let airflow get out of these rooms at night. It's just a building practice that we started doing several years ago. That makes a lot of sense. And on a new house, you deserve to know that. So the bathroom sinks, we talked about them, spraying water all over the place. Drain stops are working. They're not completely working because they were letting a little bit of water go down still, but no issues there. Seeing the plumbing back there, you can see the PEX lines. And then you're like, oh, I thought it was PEX, but behind the toilets it's copper. Yeah, you're going to see a combination of that. It says non-metallic plumbing because they don't want you to rely on the plumbing to be a good bond. They want you to know that it's partially non-metallic, and once you put some plastic plumbing in there, in your house, it's considered non-metallic plumbing. Just because you can't bond those pipes then. You can't bond the copper through PEX into another copper. It has to be consistent copper, otherwise the bonding is worthless. Screens on all the windows in the house are missing. I would recommend installing them so you can open the doors or the windows up in the fall time and let some cool air in. We're not just missing screens on the windows, but we're missing screen on the sliding glass door as well. Another thing I noticed was some grout cracking here by the door, by the sliding glass door. You can see a lot of that grout's already cracking out. Some of it looks great, some of it looks not great. But whoever buys this house probably wants it to look as great as it possibly can. But I cruised around the floor looking for any anomalies. It's just a mark there.
Looking for any grout cracks, making sure the tiles are marked or pretty level. You know, we could add a little bit more grout in there. You see how that's low. We just don't want water to pool up if you're mopping. So you want to keep those grout lines at least pretty close to level with the tile, especially around the wood trim. So you're missing a little bit more right there. You don't want water when you're mopping to settle down in there and then gets on the bottom side of that trim board. And the bottom side of that trim board is not painted. I believe this is wood, not PVC, so that'll warp, causing problems. Same thing with the main door here. We're missing a little bit of grout. This isn't a big concern, but it's something you should fill in. If it were me, I'd pull the grout out of there, and I'd put some good caulking down in there. Some flexible caulking so that doesn't crack out as much. The more movement you get with hard surfaces on each other, the more cracking you're gonna get. You can see the dirt that's blowing through that door right there, right? So it looks like it's coming through that crack and that weather stripping, so we're gonna wanna write that up too, because nobody wants that in their house.
So like we were talking up in the attic, the AC is running great. It was set at like 87 when we got here today. I'm gonna put it back up at 80. I don't want to keep this AC running all day long, but it's running good. We just need to put some batteries in the thermostat here so you have a backup, and get somebody to look up in the attic or check the fluid levels on that condensate line. When those condensate lines make that much noise, it's usually too much liquid or not enough liquid, and it's pushing some air and it's not doing a good job. So you need to get an HVAC professional and come in and just take a look at it. Just have them examine it. If they need to add a little bit more fluid to it, do it. I'm not so sure if I agree with the placement of the light switches for this room. So we got 2 for the fan and 1 for the built-in lights, can lights. And then for the closet, they put your light switch way over there. Why? Why wouldn't you just mount it right here? Wouldn't that make more sense? Another wobbly fan. Might not cause you much problems today, but eventually this thing is going to start squeaking and getting really loud and obnoxious, and you're going to really regret not having it fixed earlier. But you can see we have 2 switches over here. Both of them go up to the light. Only one of them goes to the light fan combo. So the second one is meant to run a fan separately than the light, but the way these are set up, it just takes power off the one leg, the one branch. So the secondary switch is going up there, but there's nothing attached to it right now. So if you wanted to add a fan and separate the fan from the light kit, you could control them both separately if you bought the proper light or fan kit. So around here we've got an alleyway on the back side of the house where the water meter is, but I'm a bit curious about what kind of freaking dog this is. Look at that stride. That stride is bigger than mine. Look at the pads. That thing is huge. What kind of dog are we talking about? Do they have wolves down here? I don't think they have wolves, do they?
So we've got all the water off inside the house. We're just going to check that number, make sure it's not moving. If you had to turn water off to your whole property, you could change this or turn this sideways and line up these 2 holes. That's how the power company would lock you out of your water. They'd put a padlock through those 2 holes right there. So if you need to turn it off, you can get a valve or a handle that turns that 90 degrees. But see, our numbers aren't moving, so I'm not worried about a leak anywhere under the slab or in the main supply line.
Well, she's got 266,000 miles on it now. It's my 2010 diesel, as Shia LaBeouf would say, diesel. Yeah, but I'm gonna quit going back to that auto car wash, that raceway car wash, because they put dressing on your tires. That dressing gets all over your rim, so you have to wipe it off. So on top of it, that dressing attracts dirt and dust. You drive on any dirt, and it's gonna look like shit until you get it washed again. I don't like tire dressing. I know I'm way off subject here, but I don't like tire dressing. I like chemical guys. They produce some good shit. And I'm checking the water pressure here right before we leave, and I can see that it's jumped up a little bit.
just since we've been doing the inspection. Pushing about 85. Yeah, I would get a pressure regulator on here and drop it down into the 60s. That'll probably fix your problem with the sinks.
Hey, if you guys are looking for a good house south of Phoenix, down here in the Eloy, north of Tucson area, all these areas, this lady, she handles it all. She does a great job. She's really adamant about taking care of her clients and making sure that the house they move into is good. When I came here for this inspection, she goes, I want you to do the most thorough inspection you can for this house. And she's listing it. So she wants to know that this house is good. So if you guys have any questions about properties down here, make sure to give her a call. 469-919-6262. Larissa Powell. She's your hookup down here. I'm in Eloy. It's beautiful. It's a different world down here a little bit. It's quieter. Not as many people. These are a few more of those homes just like the one we inspected right here. Probably built by the same builder. A couple issues that I called out, but not bad. We'll get them taken care of, and I'm sure Larissa will take care of them for her client. But if you guys are coming down here and need somebody to hook up for a good home, she's your girl.
This is one of the reasons I keep my car. You see I'm doing about 78, 79 miles an hour on the interstate. I'm still getting 32 miles a gallon. You know, that's why I can travel all over the state of Arizona. As long as you pay my travel fee, I don't mind driving.